Carl and Lou here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for sure. And it is a different kind of horror. A guest has joined me here this time because we decided to do it together. We've watched this movie together, and it is the time of the year. It's the season. 'Tis the season. Apparently, we'll explain more as we go on. It is Valentine's Day. As a time of recording, it's the day before Valentine's Day. A really, really important day.
It is, apparently.
According to this movie, we are talking about All Things Valentine, a Hallmark B movie, romantic comedy? I say, yeah, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be, but it's a romantic movie.
Yeah.
Romance, basically.
Yeah, I don't think there's much comedy in it at all, really. Where I think the other ones we watched.
Well, just because we didn't laugh. Just because we didn't laugh doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like, there's the problem.
The awkward, dippy one's supposed to get a few laughs, I suppose, yeah.
There is those sort of aspects. So, yeah, we are going to talk about this movie as part of this video. And there's no script. We have no notes. We're simply just going to spitball our thoughts about it. Now, of course, you're going to sit there and say, oh, it's a Hallmark movie called All Things Valentine. You expected it to be shit.
Yeah.
What did you, of course. Yes, absolutely. But the idea and the hope is, as with the other, for example, movies we did around Christmas time, I did around Christmas time that we watched together. You watched them with me.
Yeah.
Hopefully entertained, amused, so bad it's good. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened and stuff like that. This has moments like that where I'm like, you have to see that to believe this.
Yeah.
But the problem is the middle portion. The beginning is batshit crazy. The ending is batshit crazy. Of just like, what I mean is not crazy as an, oh my God, I can't believe that's so entertaining. I mean, oh my God, I can't believe they're saying this or doing this. Or that's the plot, the direction they're going to go. But the middle, the fucking middle of this movie is dull as dish water. Absolute mind-numbing crapness.
Yeah.
She was unlucky in love.
Will you be my Valentine?
Not a fan of Valentine's Day, I see.
No, not really.
Until one Valentine's Day changed everything.
I'm sorry. That was me.
From lonely heart
I'm starting to believe in love again.
to hopeless romantic.
I really like him.
A Hallmark Channel original movie.
You are the most wonderful person I've ever met.
All Things Valentine.
It's got that sheen to it as well. And obviously,
Hallmark.
yeah, I think like it's well known now, isn't it, Hallmark?
It's a whole fucking channel,
There's
isn't
a
there?
whole channel. There's actors that star in a lot of them. Like,
Yep,
well known
we've seen,
for them. So it's like, ugh.
Expectations were low, but we did want to do something for Valentine's Day. We'll get out of it now. We are a married couple who care nothing for Valentine's Day. And as far as we're aware, most people feel the same way. As far as we're aware, most people see it as nothing but a commercial pile of wank. However, I'll take my head for a shit here and say, I get it. If it's an important day to you, I completely understand. I'm happy for you. You crack on and stuff like that. I completely understand that. For me personally, it's nothing but commercial wank designed to make you buy and stuff like that. However, for many people, it might be more important than that. And it might be a big, big deal. It never has been for me. It never will be for me. So to see this movie pretend and act like it's in par with Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is why I jokingly did 'tis the season. Because that is actually said in this movie.
Yeah, they decorate the houses for it.
Yep, like everyone loves Valentine's Day to the point where they're decorating their houses. To the point where... Now, this puzzled us while we watched. You tell us, please, in the comments, if you're from America, is this a thing? Giving Valentine's Day gifts, cards, and so on to your family. Brothers, sisters, parents, and siblings. Cards and presents. Going over there on the day and having a meal like it's Christmas fucking Day. Is this a thing? Because we were like, what the fuck?
It's not.
There was a point where I had to stop the movie and go back. Because we'll get to the cast and the characters in a minute, but the main couple had gone to a cake making, chocolate making event. And the person hosting it basically starts to talk about Valentine's gifts she gives, and she says her brother. And my eyes went, wait, what? And I was like, nah, I didn't hear that right. Back? No, she said her brother. And we're like, what?
Bizarre.
That is fucking bizarre. There is a scene later on which is supposed to be heartwarming involving the main character, Avery, where she's talking to her father and he's talking about, oh, you're my little girl who used to give me all these Valentine's cards and all that. And I thought it was creepy. I thought it was fucking creepy. We started to make jokes about, very inappropriate things, very inappropriate things. But it was just like, she's getting all these cards out of hearts that she gave to her father when she's younger. And I'm like,
them all
and the thing is, I get that. Kids do that to their parents and stuff like that. But the problem was, it's been continuing.
Yeah.
It continues to now, to a grown woman.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. But is this the norm?
They had to boost out this film, didn't they? 'Cause it was very, very flimsy plot. You had to kind of boost it, like everyone else cares about it, but her.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute,
yeah.
but I think it's also worth pointing out, ultimately this movie is commercial as fuck. Hallmark.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? There are several times throughout the movie where gifts and stuff, it's like, well, that's probably from Hallmark alone. It's the most teeth-grinding, sugary, aching example of Hallmark promoting itself.
Yeah.
It's... I don't want to say it's not enjoyable, though, because of that beginning and ending... I will often like explode with outrage over like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. This did this several times to me. That's entertaining, you know? It's the middle portion that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not a fault of the actors.
No,
we both agree.
They did a good job.
For what it was and what they had to do.
Yeah.
In particular, Sarah Rafferty, who is the lead woman of this, Avery Parker. Avery?
I know. Odd.
We thought that was an odd name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Avery.
yeah. And Sam Page, e.g. Brendan Baines.
Not Brandon.
Or Brandon.
They
Right.
switched between, didn't they?
This movie has a big problem in that several characters can't make up their mind how his name is said.
Yeah.
Some will say Brendan. Others will say clearly Brandon.
Yeah. You're like, same dude?
And like, did no one want to cut and go, oh, you said name, I did it again? Or did nobody fucking notice? They are quite different. Brendan and Brandon are quite different, I think.
Different letter. Different,
you know?
Everything's different about that.
Elsewhere, we've got Jeremy Gilboa as Kit. He is, if anything, the comic relief, the side story.
Yeah.
This good-looking dude who's a vet in probably his mid-30s, who apparently has never, ever spoken to a woman before, according to this movie.
And shouldn't, after watching this film, should still not.
Yeah, shouldn't be allowed to, really, for some of his behaviour. But basically, he's got the hots for the local coffee shop or entrepreneur.
Bakery, yeah.
Who is that in these characters? I'm looking at
That's
them.
Hannah.
Is that Hannah?
Yeah, different hair colour.
Oh, wow, that's a very different picture, yeah. Heather Dockerson. So they're the
No,
side...
sorry, it's not Hannah's Avery's sister.
That is right.
Yeah, I'm wrong there.
It's Prue.
Prue.
Hilary Jardine is Prue. So it tells you, we watched this less than 24 hours ago and we don't remember these characters' name. But yeah, Prue, they're the side story, the side love story, that you can see how it's going to end a mile away. They're awkward around each other. Halfway through the film, she starts to give her vibes that she thinks he's a creep and wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And we're both like, well, listen, Kit, man, give it up. It's done.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that
that's a
she's
sign to
actively
stop.
avoiding you. By the end, though, he's all like coming along with on Valentine's Day with all these presents, Hallmark presents, and goes on some big speech, right? And bear in mind, they haven't needed a date yet. And she then follows it up with, "Don't you dare break my heart." He then goes off on some rambling speech, and she's like, "Oh, it's a bit much of a first date." And I'm like, "Oh my god, you started with 'Don't you dare break my heart.'" Who says that to a person they're about to go on a date with? You fucking lunatic. You lunatics. Absolutely insane.
Ridiculous.
Hannah already said Heather Dockinson. That is Avery's sister. Mainly there for plot filler. Mainly there to add some sort of weight when Avery's walking around talking about her sad moments.
Kid, innit? Like
There is that as well. McKenna is probably the most other important character. Kimberly Sostad. So basically, this movie begins with her dating Brendan or Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. What you feel like.
She's written to an agony aunt. And this is how this movie just drives you nuts at the start. She's written to an agony aunt called a coach. And basically asked for advice because Brendan doesn't seem that interested in Valentine's Day. Now, bear in mind, they're out of dinner. And she starts to... The coach basically wrote back saying, well, look, if he ain't interested in Valentine's Day, sack him off. He clearly ain't the one. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, these films, I feel like that's why there's so many of these films, because they create problems.
Ooh, yes, the problems are correct. The problems in this movie are so fucking minor to what it actually is, except for one that it glosses over, which is actually a big problem. But we'll get to that, I think, a little bit later on. So basically, she reads that and takes this agony aunt's... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And calls out Brendan at the dinner, and he is so fucking level-headed. Well, look, you know, we've not been dating too long. We're having a nice dinner here. What's the difference between that evening and this evening? He's making a point. She will not let it go and dumps him.
Walks out on him.
I'm on his side. I'm like, mate, we're sitting there going, mate, you're safe.
Yeah.
You're better off getting
You
away
have
from this
done a
psycho.
good job there.
Absolute fucking psycho. The coach is an anonymous Ignion, of course, is actually Avery. When Brendan finds out that McKenna took that advice, he's really angry about it and decides to start trolling Avery's column. So it's on a newspaper column, and you're able to leave comments on the website and stuff like that.
It's a huge paper, apparently.
Apparently, the Portland News, the Portland Journal, something like that.
Portland
Baguette. Gazette is what I wanted to say. It's the Portland something. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, apparently it's really big fucking news and all that kind of thing. But he decides to start trolling us and leaves comments basically calling out the coach's advice. We often hear his comments because he'll read them out loud.
Yep.
It is the most minor troll shit you're ever going to experience. It's the most PG. No, it's you. It's universal, where it's like she writes a list because she's basically Avery's given the job of building up the Valentine's Day by doing lists and promotion stuff like top 10 restaurants to go eat at and stuff. Yeah, basically one of them is movies and things like that. I do admit I do like the joke, the reference that Love Actually. She puts Love Actually in. It's a Christmas movie, not that. Yeah. I did like that because yes, she means how lazy her column was. Yeah, that she just saw love. And put that film didn't even bother anything else. But basically, it's things like, oh, your movie choices are blasé. Yeah. And I'm like, oh
no.
But Avery can't reads them and she's like, oh, he's ruined my day. And it's like, what?
She's fucking bizarre. One.
Now we should say Avery actually opens this movie as we see her walking happily down the street holding Hallmark Valentine's balloons as she goes to her boyfriend and then sees her boyfriend kissing another woman on the street. Yeah. That is some predetermined time before the actual events of this movie. And a major problem comes from this. We have no concept of fucking time. No. We have no idea how close they are to Valentine's Day. We have no idea how long ago she had her heart broken. We have no idea how quickly the events that occur with Brendan happen. We have no thing. They're like, oh yeah, the build of Valentine's Day. I was like, is it 2 weeks?
How would you build up
is it
Valentine's
a week?
Day
Is it 4 weeks? It feels like it's fucking months. Yeah. But it's like, but it can't be because February 14th, like Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so confusing. It's so fucking confusing. But long story short, she ends up, her dog gets sick. She visits the vet. Guess who one of the vets are? It's Brendan. Yeah, he's one of the vets. Yeah. One of the vets alongside Kit. They kind of hit it off and then start to hang out and stuff like that. They have this relationship thing where they're kind of like, they're like, oh, we're just friends. But they do things like around Valentine's related because she's got to do it for her column and she's kind of inviting him along. Yeah. They don't have much chemistry. No. They don't. No. They're nice, although you were obsessed with his poo mouth.
He's got a little poo mouth. So his mouth does open really wide. And one of my friends before called it that and it stuck with me from since. Yeah. Calling it poo mouth.
I said it looked like he was trying not to open his mouth because he had food in his cheeks and he didn't want it to drop out. Yeah. That's what it seemed like. But both actors and character-wise, they're both mildly likeable. There's nothing offensive about either. They both hit it off because neither of them likes Valentine's Day. He doesn't like it because of McKenna's obsession over it. She doesn't like it because she got hurt on it. Yeah. That's it. Dun, dun, dun. And that's the hit off. And you can see where it's gone. But neither character's like hateable or like that. We've done all them Christmas list and stuff like that where it's like, oh, I hate you. Yeah. This is not like that at all. At all. Actor wise, we already said they're doing fine.
Yeah, doing fine job.
They're doing fine. It's just like say lack of chemistry. I never really bought into the fact that they were ever going to be happily ever after, which is what you're supposed to, right?
I'm intrigued to wonder how many films like this they pump out a year. Like how quick to
I don't know. I have to look into it. This is a foray into Hallmark. Yeah, do you see what I mean?
They are quite horrific.
Of course, you can see the writing on the wall here. She's the coach. He is the anonymous bench the coach, causing her shit on her column. He won't let it go though. Even though he's met someone new and he's quite excited about it and quite happy and stuff like that, he gets quite obsessive over it. I said to you, like, calm down, dude.
Yeah, get a life.
Yeah, like, get a life. She continues to let it bother her and stuff like that. Her boss ends up thinking, oh my God, people are coming now to see these two row constantly in columns. Apparently, it's taking off around Portland. So much so that eventually she plans this elaborate idea of unveiling who the coach is, e.g. Avery, and then inviting Bench the coach to come and unveil himself and then have the two debate about Valentine's Day.
Yes.
It's a this is where you're like, that is a terrible idea.
Just like whatever. Like, yeah, she's... How big is this paper? Like, how many people were looking at people commenting? Like some people do it on Facebook. They like to see the comments between people, but that's Facebook, like because they're just nosy Parkers and that. But like on a internet.
When they do the news conference or the conference thing, there's like 30 or 40 people there. It ain't that big of a fucking deal. Of course, Avery ends up revealing herself. And of course, Brandon or Brendan, whatever his name is, sees this. But from the distance in the back, and he kind of walks away.
Bottles it,
basically. He's like, okay, I can't reveal who I was. Now I've seen it's her. That kind of thing. Now, for me, it's really simple. Cool, I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk to her. And I'm going to say, well, you're the coach, so you were given anonymous and stuff like that. I was benched to coach. I was going to behave like this. Yeah. I'm sorry. You're sorry. We now know. Wasn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Move on. Yeah. Move on. That's what it is. No, this film will somehow turn this into a bigger deal. Now, what fucks me off is it creates the better idea and then abandons it. So, McKenna, who throughout this movie has been having second thoughts about splitting up with Brandon, and even tries to talk him and says maybe she shouldn't have liked the advice. But by this point, he's quite head over heels with Avery, so he's not interested in. She's not interested anymore. When she finds out, she finds out he's dating Avery Parker, and she's like, oh, you know, she's upset and that kind of thing. But then she finds out that the coach was Avery. Now look at this. She took advice from an agony aunt who turns out to be this person who's now dating your ex-boyfriend. Yeah, you'd be like, it's a fucking hell of a coincidence, right?
So suspicious.
It is, and so on. She actually ends up confronting Avery. Avery looks like she's going to cry, you know. But, like, this is why anonymity exists for people like this. Yeah. We were like, okay, she's going to... We were kind of, like, expecting McKenna to pull a hammer out. Yeah. Because this is what it is. You give someone bad relationship advice, they might take it seriously personally. We can't reveal who you are. It's dangerous. It's that kind of thing. I kept saying during it, bench the coach could be a psychopath. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? That kind of thing. But they were like, no, it's going to get...
That made the film more interesting.
It would have made it more... There were several times where we thought that a killing spree would improve things heavily, unless you like the constant jokes about scones involving Kit and stuff like that. And also they're fat, even though they're not fat in the slightest. Yeah. It's one of those awkward things. A lot of the dialogue in the middle of the movie is so pointlessly nothing. Just like the playful elements of when Brendan and Brandon are hanging out. I'm going to see him as split personality now. Yeah. That's kind of thing. That's what it is. Brandon is bench to coach, the anonymous person online. Brendan is the guy we see in real life. Yeah. That's what it is. But like him and Avery sort of hanging out and stuff like that. It's always very short. It's always very nothing. It's like, oh, we're having a cup of tea. Yeah. Cut to the next thing. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That was interesting. Yeah. Felt the chemistry. Yeah. Felt the chemistry over a cup of tea. Although, you know, there are these constant small funny errors that you just got to keep your eyes open. And you spotted one at the end when Avery's had her heart broken and her dad comes to visit to her and she pours tea for them. Oh, God, an empty cup. Oh, it really annoys me in films. Why did they do it? Is it continuity? It just can't be asked. Like, the cup was empty. The problem was normally they're really good at hiding it because what you would do is shoot it from the angle where the cup's going up to the face. Yeah, it's over his shoulder. But it's over his shoulder and he lifts it up and it's like, the cup's fucking empty. Oh, like stuff like that. It really irritates me in films. But McKenna ends up confronting Avery and then tells Avery in revenge seemingly who bench the coach was. Yeah. Avery, this is the equivalent, and this is where this film is, why I said it was batshit crazy end. She takes it as if she just found out he's married with 2 kids. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. She goes to the thing. She's like, I don't know who you are. You know, I never want to see you again. Ah! You know, it wasn't quite like that. That would have been hilarious. Close. But of course, and he's the one that left feeling bad. Now, he should feel bad to a degree because A, don't be a troll online. Don't be that person. But we heard what he was saying. She's like, oh my God, you're the one that was making my life miserable online. I'm like, but what? I don't know, like, don't encourage trolls, but like, if you're going to be a troll, do it properly. Well, like, you know, we're saying that, like, my God, she should never go on YouTube. Oh my God. Like, her head will fucking explode through the sheer hate that will come on there. Yeah. It's embarrassing, basic shit. So now he has to try and make it up to her. And I'm like, this is bullshit. You both were at fault. You were living in an honest lie as well about what you were doing when he queried about Valentine's Day and stuff like that. Yeah. You left it all fucking out. You didn't bother telling me that. he was being a bit of a troll on your thing, but he didn't know you were the coach.
Yeah.
He didn't know. It's not like if he was doing it knowing it was, then you've got reason to be like, that was a dick move.
Yeah.
I still think you could talk it out.
Yeah.
And like, why be that way? But like, you're both at fault here. It's not that big of a deal.
No.
Move fucking on. Of
Yeah.
course, then we get the sappy thing where dad comes and talks to her, and all that kind of thing. And I'll be honest, I was expecting a giant gesture, like that kind of thing, where she goes somewhere or whatever, or she's called somewhere, and it's all decorated with Valentine's Day stuff and all that. It's really not that. It's actually kind of just, oh, all right, you met up.
Yeah.
And he turns up at your door, and he says a few words, and you let him in.
Yeah.
And that's it. Oh, okay, I mean, I appreciate the sensibility of that, but bear in mind up to this point, this movie has fucking been obsessed with throwing Valentine's Day. Every single house, place, location is covered in Valentine's Day stuff.
Yeah.
The fucking restaurants are. They go to a Mexican restaurant and it's like, oh yeah, on Valentine's Day I'm going to be doing a Valentine's Day dance.
Yeah.
Why would that be doing it?
Yeah, and
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. You know?
it was. Oh God.
Of course they end up together. Of course they
Yeah.
go and spend Valentine's Day together.
Yeah.
Part of what pushes McKenna to behave the way she did as well is she finds out that he's actually going out a date on Valentine's Day
yeah.
with Avery. And she's like, we didn't want to do it with me
Fuck.
and stuff like that. But she later ends up agreeing, like meeting Avery and then apologising. And I'm like, why is everyone apologising to Avery?
Yeah.
Like, why is everyone saying so to Avery? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're the one that wrote shit agony. Because here's the thing. Her agony aunt column is a disgrace because she's writing it from a place of anger.
Yeah.
And we see that later on when
You wouldn't be allowed to, like, I don't know.
you've got
how
to
it
be
works.
objective if you've got to do that. Let's be honest, it's an agony aunt column. No one
Mm.
takes them seriously. So McKenna's a lunatic for ever doing that. But later on, everyone's like, oh my God, your columns were so happy. But when she splits up with Brandon, or Brendan, it goes back to being super depressing.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh my God, it's so depressing. You know, it was nice and happy. And I'm like, she's not good then, is she? She's not a good writer at all. At all. That kind of thing. And of course it ends happily ever after. Kit does his mad present thing, Valentine's Day for Prue as well.
I mean, her
Don't
face.
break my heart.
Her face acting for like 90% of her interaction with him is like general sex offender. I'm calling the
Yeah,
police.
that part where she refuses to go serve him and sends McKenna.
Yeah.
We said it at the time. We were like,
But it doesn't look like she's
Take a
being
hint.
shy or like, I don't
no,
wanna
she
go
looks
serve-
like she doesn't want to be near him.
Yeah, I don't want him near me. I don't want him touching me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Oh,
And they try and play it off with a line earlier on in the movie where it's like, oh yeah, I don't date customers because of what happened last time. What happened last time?
yeah. Expand on that.
Yeah, please expand on that, but nothing ever
What's in the
does.
cookies? What are we eating?
Nothing ever does. And like I said, it's not that the characters are all particularly terrible or that the acting is particularly bad either. It's all perfectly fine thing. What this is just a sugary romance movie that ends up aching your teeth. Problem is the middle portion of it is so fucking bland and boring. We have glossed over so much, such as the really lengthy learn to dance scene, which is just so boring. The Mexican restaurant original scene. Well, the end part is a little bit more entertaining purely because of the background dancers.
Oh God. Just
So-
a song.
They are dancing, they are slow dancing, while everyone else in that scene is dancing as if it's flamenco music, a samba or something like that.
But the music's not. Don't actually hear it. The music's kind of what they want to put over it.
The music is what their dance to, a slower sort of song. But everyone else is kind of like,
Jiving.
and it's just
It is
like,
white people driving.
it's white people jiving as well. Good God. We did laugh during it that the representation in this movie is really lacking. There is a black couple in the
restaurant and her boss.
and her boss. Yes, at least she gets some lines because in the chocolate making there's a black couple who laugh at a joke about the maker's brother.
Oh yeah.
Fucking weird.
Freak.
I really want that shit explained to me. I really do. Thing is, overall, did I hate this? No.
No.
There's nothing to hate. It is exactly what you expect from a Hallmark movie. What I don't like about it is that overall I was not entertained.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when it came down to it, Avery and Brandon, they needed to be weirder. They needed to be more lively. They needed to be more out there. They just come across too
Kooky.
cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's one thing we could say about things like the Christmas list.
Yeah.
Although as insane as that movie is, she was batshit nuts.
Yeah.
That was entertaining because whether I was hating you, I had some feeling about you. At the end, I'm like Avery, Brandon / Brendan. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, poo
End
mouth.
of, you know.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that I'm like, You're still giving your dad Valentine's. Why are you doing that?
That is odd.
We have glossed over one thing. Purely because I don't want to talk about it. I don't. But you add the ultimate cuteness to this movie. Of course, there is a child.
Ugh, yeah.
It is Jeremy, played by Anthony Bolognese. Now, the reason why I don't really want to bother talk about him is because every scene he's in, I want to punch this kid in the face. Not because he's a bad actor. In fact, the kid's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, he's not. He really
Delivers his
says
lines
it.
really strongly. Excellent. However, every line he said is literally what you might read. Anything you can imagine a cute kid saying about Valentine's Day, he says it.
Yeah.
He fucking says it. And he gets way too many scenes of it. Way too many scenes where everyone is like listening to intently to what this 6-7-year-old is saying about Valentine's Day and about that, and you're like, oh.
He talk about a normal kid would talk about it for a few seconds and then go distracted or ask you to like log into the Wi-Fi so they can download some crap on their phone. That's probably what it would be. Not this fucking idiot child.
It is a different kind of horror because you do sometimes sit there with your hands on your face going, no. Like I said, for me, having to go back and be like, did she just say her brother? And in my head, I'm thinking, this movie is going in a different direction than I expected. As we keep saying throughout it, please tell us if this is a thing that happens elsewhere. As far as I'm aware, it does not happen in the UK.
No, I don't think so.
So is it an American thing only? And is it widespread?
Yeah, it's weird because like anniversary cards for your parents.
The biggest thing that caused us the outrage. The biggest thing that caused us both to be very, very. I suppose it's the reason to hate the movie. Is how it treats and acts like Valentine's Day is on par with anniversaries, birthdays.
Yeah.
Someone even fucking says that about being on par with birthdays. Remember, I paused and was like, no, that is not acceptable.
No.
How fucking dare you, Hallmark? How dare you? And like I said, ultimately, when the mother of Avery goes, 'tis the season, flip the fucking computer off. What are you fucking doing, you drunk broad? Absolutely, you are off your tits. You were snorting something before she came over. Chocolate directly up your fucking nose.
That's more insane.
You know, absolutely. It must be, right? Because why else would you go tis the season?
Yeah.
Associate that solely. Because that also implies Valentine's Day, Valentine's season?
Yeah.
No. Yes, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks before Valentine's Day, you'll get all your bollocks in the shops and stuff, but that's the same as Easter.
Yeah.
Easter's not the, you don't go, do we at Easter go, 'tis the season?
No.
So what that tells me, and they said it during it, is that Hallmark have used this as a massive fucking ad.
Yeah.
And that makes it really sinister.
Hey,
And
that's
nastier.
What they are, Renee. That's what they are.
It makes it really nastier. And a bit more like, harder to fucking enjoy. We had our thoughts on it. Anything to add?
No, I feel like I never watch these films again. I think the only reason we're watching them is because of this. Like, I don't think I've ever like my mum used to watch a Hallmark channel. That was my mum's jam, like Hallmark and true movies.
Yeah, of course, it's that stuff.
And it's down like the lower end, like the really sad end of Sky, and it's always like no, like Her Choice or Deadly Revenge, and then he gets a Hallmark, and it's all this, and it's like grim. That's the word.
I will be continuing to watch them for this video series. So, what do you reckon? All Things Valentine. It's got a pretty decent rating on IMDb, like 6.2 out of 10. So it's popular. But then these movies are, because people do see. It's important to see these movies exactly what they are for most people, which is just cookie cutter fodder that you put on in the background and make you feel warm at the heart and stuff like that. That's each to our own. We've all got different perspectives. What warms my heart is seeing someone get gutted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not being given a box of chocolates. What do you reckon? You know what to do? Drop it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?